Hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about one of the games that was a surprise hit for me of the games I played for the first time last year. This is Rising Dusk, and it's a retro platformer which does something simple but distinctive and interesting enough to make this well worth playing. In my experience, there aren't many indie platformers that are just platformers. Influenced by the classics, but not trying to be ferociously difficult for no real reason. Rising Dusk manages to pull that off. It manages to capture the spirit of the classic 80s to mid-90s platformers, but also incorporate modern design sensibilities. Like many of the best games, Rising Dusk does one key thing that's distinctive to it that it pulls off really well. In the case of this game, it's how it handles collecting coins. If you've played any of the classic style platformers, then you'll know that typically you're collecting knickknacks as you roam around the levels. Think coins in Mario, rings in Sonic. Some games have fruit or shells or items of food. Rising Dusk has coins, but the thing that's different here is you don't always want to collect them. And this is demonstrated really early on in the first level, where you walk to the right, you see a coin, you pick it up, and then you can't go any further. You see, the thing here is that when you collect coins, it affects whether certain blocks in the levels are present or not. So most of the levels will have a selection of brightly coloured blocks scattered around them, with numbers on them. And the number shows you how many coins will cause it to disappear. So if you're carrying one coin, if you've picked up one coin in that level, then any block that has the number 1 on it will disappear as you approach. Only as you approach though. They won't just vanish from the level, they will vanish underfoot if you step on them. So it's really easy to accidentally lose track of how many coins you're carrying and step on something you think is safe, and actually just plunge to your death as it disappears from beneath your feet. There are also less commonly some blocks which only appear when you collect a certain number of coins, and their location is indicated. You get the number floating in the air with sort of a swirling circle around it to show you that a block will appear there with that many coins. But more commonly, the blocks disappear. So if you have 4 coins in the current level, then 4, 3, 2 and 1 blocks will disappear. And really the core of the entire game is making sure that you have the right number of coins at the appropriate point in each level. The game has a good number of levels. It's not a long game, but it's not super short either. And the levels are accessed from a Super Mario World style overworld map. What you're trying to do in each level varies. I mean, you're always trying to get to the end, except for the occasional boss fights, of which there are a handful. But in most levels, you're trying to get to the end of the level. But there are also collectibles scattered around. And the overworld map will show you for each level whether you've collected everything that's available to collect there. The main ones are lucky cat statues. You know the ones, they're usually sort of gold coloured and they have a paw in the air. So many of the levels have one or more of those for you to collect. And sometimes background music cassettes as well, and occasionally 1 or 2 other things, if memory serves. But those are the main ones. And it will usually take several passes through a level in order to collect all of the things you can collect. Because quite often, the golden cat, for example, will be walled off behind some 12 blocks, which you need to collect 12 coins for, so that they disappear and you can get to the cat. But at the same time, the soundtrack cassette for that level will be above some 4 blocks above a pit. So you need to not have more than 3 coins in order to collect that. So quite often it will take more than one pass through a level, because collecting the right number of coins to access one thing will block off another thing for you. And working out exactly how many coins you need to have at different points in each level is really what makes the game interesting, and that's what made it work for me. It's more than just a normal platformer. It gives you something to think about, but it doesn't go full tilt into being a puzzle platformer. The puzzles aren't that intense or that convoluted. There are a few specifically puzzle levels which are more tricky, hidden away in a corner of the game world. I'm not going to tell you where, you can find it for yourself. But there is a selection of puzzle levels stashed away. But for the most part, the levels don't play like puzzle platformer levels. This is more like a platformer that just requires you to be a little bit clever and a little bit careful about what you're doing. You can't just bop casually through the levels and bounce to the end. You have to pay a bit of attention to what you're doing, and for me, that's really what makes this game work. I'm also a big sucker for this Japanese style aesthetic. For example, I really like the aesthetic of Legend of the Mystical Ninja on the Super Nintendo, and that's one of the games that the presentation here reminds me of a bit. It's a little bit of a cliche, but I just find it very pleasant, and there are some really nice bits of background music in here, including one from a late game level, which I will show you in the background here when I'm editing this together. Really nice, mellow music in that level. I won't show you much of the gameplay from there because it is late in the game and I don't want to spoil anything for you. But yeah, I personally, for my taste, really enjoy the look and sound and feel of this game. So add that to this simple but cleverly executed core mechanic, and Rising Dusk was a real surprise hit for me. I've been talking about the game for a little while now, but why don't I show you a level in action, live, so that you can see for yourself how it plays. Let's go into this one, Warashi Plains. It's an early game level because I don't want to spoil anything from later in the game for you. Nice sunset in the background. That's pretty commonplace in this game actually, and I like pixel art sunsets, so that works for me. This guy will just push you around. That's okay, we can just jump over him. If there was a pit or something here, then he'd be more of a problem. But as it is, he's just pushing us for no real reason. Now if we were to collect this coin, these blocks would disappear as we approach them. So we maybe don't want to do that. We might want them to disappear, but it's too early to say. Yeah, so we can't get down there from here because these blocks are in the way. But if we collected the coin, we could. Maybe we want to do that. We'll see. But for the time being, I think it's safest to assume that we don't want any coins yet. These clouds would also disappear if we picked up a coin. Obviously, we can't jump over him under here, so wait for him to get out. And then cross here. Ah, a lucky cat. If I hadn't played through this level and collected this before, this would be gold. But because I've collected it in the past, it's greyed out. But I can still collect it again. Meow. Meow. Maybe that's a sideline for me. I could be the voice of lucky cats in video games, going meow for a living. Okay, these guys are a bit more aggressive. They will slap you, and then bow, as though they're being polite. Slapping people off platforms isn't polite, you know. Stop it. So, we're way off needing to be worried about these 4 and 5 clouds, so we'll just bounce across here. Like this. Didn't quite make that. Okay, there's another cat up there, but I'm not too worried about that. I've collected it before, so never mind. Here's a checkpoint. More pushing guys. Again, they would be a problem here, because if we'd collected 2 coins, this would be a pit. So that would be a lot more of a concern, but as it stands, we're okay. And we can bounce over here. Again, if we'd collected a single coin, it would be more difficult to get across here. These 10s don't worry us at all. We're nowhere near 10 coins. Aha! So here we have one of the collectible background music cassettes hidden behind some 12 blocks. So we need to collect 12 coins if we want to get to that. So we could just go to the end of the level and then come back and have another go. Yeah, there's the end right there. So rather than backtracking, let's finish the level. And then we'll just bop straight back in. And this time, we'll try and collect 12 coins before we get to that cassette. back into Warashi Plains. Okay, so this time we want to collect these. Make sure that we have enough. But that means that this time round, blocks will be disappearing as we approach them. So no getting up there. Oh, that means we can't get that coin. That's annoying. Hopefully that doesn't fail us. There's one there as well. So actually maybe we don't want to collect that one right at the beginning. This actually deprives us of more coins a little bit later. Okay. So we'll get this one. Are there any up there? I don't think so. Oh, there's that one. Okay. Well... Oh! I didn't intend to do that. Maybe I can get this coin by bouncing on that guy's head then. Let's try. Oh, come close enough. Come on. We'll get the checkpoint. Come on. Come over here. I need to use your head as a spring. No. Maybe I can get up here, though. Ooh. Don't be rude. Maybe I can get up here? No. Okay. Never mind. Hopefully we can get 12 without his help. Need to watch out for this, because this will disappear now. We've collected too many coins. 6. So that one's going to disappear. All of these will disappear, I think. Yeah. Okay. 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now we need to be worried about these. Oops. Let's try that again, shall we? So we've got 4, 5. Really can't bounce on you? Oh, okay. I don't have those. Interesting. Well, I can't get up there because those disappear. Okay. Let's keep going. Alright, 8 coins. So we really need to be careful of pits now. Okay, I want that coin. Get out of my way. Slapping fool. Alright, 10 and 11, and that makes 12. So if we can get that... slapped me right into a hole. So this is a really good example of the kind of dilemmas you face with Rising Dusk. Trying to collect the right number of coins at the right time, while also being made vulnerable by having too many for some of the platforms. This is exactly the kind of thing that Rising Dusk does that makes it so sneaky. It's simple and yet really clever. Okay. So, we know we can get 12 because we just did it, but need to not be punched into a hole. Okay, get over him. Go. Go. That's 12. And we can get the cassette. Excellent. Now if we can just get to the end, we're safe. There we go, success. So that was a fairly standard level of Rising Dusk, to give you an idea of how the game plays. If it's not clear already, and I'm pretty sure it is, I really, really like Rising Dusk. I had no idea what to expect from it when I sat down with it, other than it looked fairly pretty and it was clearly side-scrolling. But as I spent some time with it, I really liked it, and this was probably one of my favourite games that I played in 2020. So if you like this kind of classic or classic-influenced 16-bit-ish platformer, especially if it includes a twist which makes it a little bit different, a little bit unique, then I can highly recommend checking out Rising Dusk. Links to places to buy the game will be in the description box below. Have you played Rising Dusk? If so, did you like it? If not, does it seem like it's up your street? Feel free to comment below. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, bye for now.